55 new opponents. Captain, you hit. I saw it, Ailish said on the radio, and the result was exactly what the captain had expected. I'll be watching for you from above, and you will drop bombs immediately. The captain pulled up the plane and climbed to 800 meters in the air. For him, things have become very easy and simple. He just needs to wait for other planes to continue dropping bombs, and then evacuate together. The following 3 planes flew towards the dam in turn at a distance of 1 kilometer. There was no threat from the top anti-aircraft guns. The attack was similar to the exercise, and the 3 TV-guided bombs all hit the dam. There are only 3 insignificant pits left on the front of the dam. The attack is complete, and no damage has been done to the dam. The captain circled over the dam for a week and saw that the small pits were smoking white smoke. He suddenly felt that such an attack was worthless. Perhaps only an Agni missile with a nuclear warhead could destroy such a behemoth. Of course he knew that was impossible. Scorpion Squad, return immediately, there are enemy planes approaching to the north of you. A bad news suddenly came from the ground command. Range, bearing. Last time I saw it at 40 kilometers. Now it's gone, maybe hiding behind a mountain. The PSM-33's long-range radar's antenna can only rotate 8 times a minute, so it's common to miss targets matter. Where is the Rhino squad? Azimuth 130, they are on their way, you must fly to the southeast. The MiG-27 has no fancy stuff like a data link, a multifunction LCD that can show the location of friends and foes, or even a radar. Therefore, the ground voice command is almost the only means for the pilots of these bombers to obtain information outside the line of sight. In fact, it is not the only way. When the enemy plane uses the fire control radar to lock the MiG-27 outside the line of sight, the pilot may also you can tell from the sound of the Selena warning system that the threat is invisible to the naked eye. Now that the captain doesn't know the exact location and distance of the enemy, he can only follow the command on the ground and run away quickly. But the captain kept an eye on it. He did not want to retreat facing the Su-30 MKI of the Rhino squadron, although it seemed the safest to do so. In a pre-attack intelligence briefing, no one will tell you what happens when you are sandwiched between 2 groups of planes capable of over-the-horizon attack. Anyway, when the captain passed through the ground radars of both the enemy, the IFF panel in working state never flashed, which means that the identification friend or foe device, which has never been upgraded in the past 20 years, may not work when it needs to work. The Scorpion squad followed me closely and adjusted to 102. Understood. MiG-27s 3 and 4 were pulling up at this time. The captain had to finish his circle. Wait for them, he made up his mind. Wait for them, will choose the nearest route to return to the border in a moment. 40 kilometers is not a very long distance. If these suddenly appearing Pakistani planes are carrying medium-range missiles, this is a very dangerous distance. The captain couldn't wait to point the nose to the east, pressing down the slope to complete the final turn. During this time, he saw 2 light spots on the horizon flying towards him. Pundit had never experienced an actual missile attack, so he froze for a moment, then glanced down at the radar warning system, which was still unaware. It was too late to say, and the number 3 and number 4 aircraft below exploded in the air within a time interval of less than 1/10 of a second. The enemy launched a missile, and the Scorpion team quickly avoided it. The warning in the VHF radio has just arrived. Obviously, the long-range warning radar with less than 10 revolutions per minute is difficult to update the target in time, and there is no way to detect that the enemy plane has launched a missile. Warning. Hit, the damn RWS didn't work, it's their F-16, the captain shouted, searching around for Irish 2. He now roughly knows that the enemy is one, or several, advanced fighter jets capable of simultaneously attacking multiple long-range targets, so he rightly assumes that these missiles were launched by F-16s, which are Pakistan's most advanced fighter jets. Follow me, Accelerate to the boundary. The captain called the number 2 aircraft and pushed the throttle stick to the afterburner position. During the acceleration process, the aircraft began to pant violently. He hurriedly manually operated the variable swept wings to the maximum. Sweep back and turn on the anti-surge. Ailish's voice appeared in time. I'm behind you, the enemy's radar track just disappeared, and I couldn't determine his position. The captain didn't answer. Number 2 had automatically followed him, and now the only thing to do, all you have to do is get out of here quickly. Maybe the Rhino squad can arrive in time to intercept the other party, maybe the other party has gone back contentedly. Anyway, his eyes are dark, and he doesn't have the heart to speculate anymore. The captain still has no way of knowing the enemy's location, so he doesn't know whether the enemy will use his route to the east to intercept him. If the enemy was in the northeast direction just now, and what method was used to deceive the ground warning radar in the horizontal direction. This possibility cannot be ruled out due to slow and inefficient scans. So far, both air support and ground command have been a fucking mess. Could it be worse? Who knows? A twin-tailed plane emerged from the clouds far to the north, so large that the captain could see the plane with the naked eye from about 8 kilometers away. Pakistan does not have heavy fighter jets with twin vertical tails, so this plane is not from the Pakistan Air Force, but why did it appear on the wrong course? This is definitely not the Su-30 MKI of Rhino Squadron, because the captain didn't see the huge canards on the front of the plane. Perhaps it was a Su-30K, which, as far as the captain knew, was deployed in the far direction of Bengal. For some reason, the captain's fear was not calmed down by the timely appearance of his own plane. He could see the Su-30's wings and its 2 missiles shining brightly under the setting sun. Now it's coming right up. Pilot Su-30, the enemy plane is behind you, don't fly towards us. The captain called in the analog secure communication channel preset before the action. But the other party didn't respond in the slightest, just rolled half a circle, getting bigger and bigger, more and more hideous. The damn pilot must have lost his head. He was making an aiming action. Damn it! Enemy! The captain hissed, exhausted. This was the most terrifying moment of his life, 10 times more terrifying than seeing his companion explode in the air a minute ago. What did you say? The ground command asked. The captain ignored the latent command. Since they have been unable to see the enemy clearly, they can't play any role now. The captain kept releasing tracer bullets and chaff to interfere with each other's possible aiming, from 1,500 meters to 500 meters in a hurry. He didn't care much about the fate of number 2 aircraft. Now is the time to leave for each other. When the captain looked back, the single-pilot Su-30, Su-27, was headed in the other direction, and it looked like it was heading for Ailish. The plane does not look as sturdy as the Rhino Su-30 MKI, nor does it have any tactical identification markings painted. He's following me? I can't get rid of him. Ailish yelled on the radio. Communication was cut off, but Captain Pundit saw no signs of an explosion in the air nearby. What's the situation? The base asked the pilot in turn. I see. I see. The captain gasped and shouted. He had already accelerated above Mach 1, and the sharp turn just now weighed him down. What? Please say it again. A Su-30. There's. The captain fled straight back to the border crossing, and because of the prolonged use of afterburner, he didn't have enough fuel to get back to Jorbut's base, so he was near the frontline airfield in Bethayana emergency landing. 2 days later, when he returned to Jorbut, he was surprised to find that Lieutenant Ailish returned to the base without incident. Of course, the price was heavy. The MiG-27, in order to avoid the opponent's aim, made a momentary 10G hovering maneuver at a speed close to the speed of sound. This maneuver was far beyond the manual. He almost fainted at the time. The name of the flying bullet also saved the lieutenant's life, but the price was also very high. When the plane barely landed, the ground personnel found that the body had been seriously deformed, and the left wing could never return to the swept more than 45 degrees. Location: the aircraft can only be scrapped.